Welcome back everybody to another video. In this video, I want to talk about the XLR cable and the RCA, if it make a difference and doesn't matter. I give you guys my experience and my take on it. And I also want to make this video, get this out of the way, because in the future video, I want to compare my two dedicated processor. One is the 4K Rotel RSP 1576 against my Marantz 8K AV7706, and why I choose one over the other. But before I do that, I want to make this quick video and get this out of the way. And in the video, as far as XLR cables from female to male, the brand is this Daddario, and the RCA to female XLR, the brand of that, it's called Cable Matters. And as far as RCA go, I'm using my old component RCA cables. And if you don't know what components are, they are pretty much your red, green, and blue wires combined together will give you the visual to run 720p for your resolution. And that one was a step up from your composite, which was your yellow, red, and white. Your yellow for your video and your red and white for your audio. So it's a step up of an RCA, and all I did was just strip it up. Well, it comes in three. I pretty much just rip it apart, not rip it apart, but pretty much separate the three so they just become regular RCAs. And I use those because they are pretty much shielded pretty good. So I want to make a good comparison. So as far as the RCA, I ran that in my regular processor, and then I ran it with my dedicated processor. And as far as sound goes, it sounds great. It's not holding back anything that the processor can do or the AVR. And I don't get no distortion with any my, well, I have the 2 amps. For the 2 amps that I own, I get no distortion with the RCA, and I ran those for a while and no problem. And as far as the RCA by Cable Matters, RCA to the XLR, it's a beautiful wire, and that's also no distortion, and it runs good. Now, as far as your XLR from your female to male or whatnot, on paper, that is the way to go, because our XLR from female to male, it is balanced, and your RCAs is unbalanced. So on paper, XLR cable, it's good. And if you're wondering if you should buy XLR cable, if you're worried about any type of distortion, because every AVR processor and your amp combination, it depends on what you have. And if you don't want to have to worry about any type of distortion, go with the XLR. But if you don't really worry about that, and you already have RCAs, or you don't want to spend too much money on XLR, there's nothing wrong with running RCA. Just make sure you get the one that is shielded, because I have no problem with my RCAs and they run great. So, but like I said, the XLR cables is rated to be balanced, so there's very low or no distortion, and your RCAs is unbalanced. But as far as my ears can tell, from my experience and all the things I've run, there is no major difference. In fact, I don't think there's any difference at all. But of course, on paper, XLR is the way to go. So you can't go wrong with you can't go wrong with XLR. But for this video's sake, there's no difference. There's no major difference. In fact, there's not even any difference that I can tell. So, and these are those RCAs that I'm using, and in this picture, that's the Monster brand, and but I've used other brands, not just this one. I've used the RCA. I think it's called, I don't know what it's called. it's RCA, but I think the name of it is, the brand is RCA too. I'm not sure, but I've used it all, and the RCAs are fine. So that is pretty much gonna wrap it up for this video. If you guys have any comments, suggestions, constructively, go ahead and comment below, and stay tuned. Subscribe for the next should be the next video. I want to do a comparison, and that's the reason why I want to do this one here now, because it doesn't really matter on your pre-outs. If your pre-outs doesn't have XLR, or if it does have XLR pre-outs, as far as RCA and XLR cable go, they're pretty much identical in my ears. So as far as sound goes, we're gonna exclude XLR out of the equation. So it doesn't. My point is, it doesn't really matter if you're running an XLR or RCA. You're still gonna get the same output as far as your processor or AVR goes. As far as processor go, they're dedicated, so you have options to have both XLR pre-outs or just RCA. But if you're if you just have AVRs that have pre-outs, since AVRs is your audio video receiver, that's a combo of your amp and processor, those will not have any XLR pre-outs. So I just want to mention that, because it doesn't really matter if it doesn't have XLR pre-outs. So that's why I'm making this video, so I can talk about the next one. But that pretty much wraps it up, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hooded Dragons out.